You've probably heard a ton about AI agents lately. They're the next big thing, promising to automate, well, pretty much everything with some serious intelligence. But how do they actually work? Today, we're going to pop the hood, dissect these systems, and show you the essential building blocks inside.
So, what's really going on inside one of these agents? It can feel like total magic, right? But once you pull back that curtain, you find a structure that's actually pretty logical and, honestly, kind of elegant. We're going to break it all down piece by piece.
Okay, first things first, let's get on the same page with the definition. An agent is not just another chatbot. The key here is that it's a system designed to act on your behalf. And the really crucial part is how it does that, by using a large language model, an LLM, to manage a workflow and make its own decisions. That's what gives it that powerful independence.
And this is where it gets really interesting, especially when you compare agents to the kind of automation we're all used to. Think of traditional automation as a super rigid checklist. It's great for simple, if this, then that tasks. But an AI agent, that's more like a seasoned investigator. It doesn't just blindly follow rules. It actually evaluates context. It understands nuance, and it can handle those fuzzy, ambiguous situations that would completely break a simple rules engine.
And here's the secret, the really cool part. Every single agent out there, no matter how complicated it seems on the surface, is built from just 3 fundamental components. That's it, just 3.
So, here's our plan. We've just covered what an agent is. Now, we're going to dissect its 3 core parts, what we're calling the brain, the toolbox, and the rulebook. And then we'll put it all back together to see how these pieces create one powerful, intelligent system.
Let's start with the most critical part, the absolute center of the operation, the agent's brain. This is the engine that drives the whole thing.
So the brain, well, that's the large language model. This is what gives the agent its power to think, to reason, and to make decisions. It's what looks at your request, figures out all the steps to get it done, and then orchestrates the entire process from beginning to end.
So how do you pick the right brain for your agent? Well, the best way to do it is with this simple 3-step strategy. First, you establish a baseline. You start with the most powerful, most capable model you can get your hands on, just to see what peak performance even looks like. Second, you focus purely on accuracy. Just get it to do the job right. Don't worry about speed or cost just yet. Only after you've nailed the accuracy do you move to step 3. You optimize. You start swapping in smaller, faster, cheaper models to see if they can still do the job well enough, balancing performance with cost.
All right, let's move on to our second component. A brain is great, but a brain in a jar can't really do much, right? It needs a way to interact with the world, and that's where the toolbox comes in.
Think of the toolbox as the agent's hands, its eyes, and its ears. It's a whole collection of connections to external functions, APIs, and other systems that let the agent go beyond just thinking and actually start gathering information and taking action out in the real world.
Now, these tools really fall into 3 main categories. First up, you have data tools. These are for perception, things like querying a database, reading a PDF, or searching the web. Then you have action tools. These are for, you guessed it, taking action, like sending an email, updating your CRM, or creating a support ticket. And finally, you have orchestration. And this is where it gets really cool. This is when one agent can actually use another more specialized agent as a tool. You could have a manager agent that delegates a task like a refund to a dedicated refund agent.
Okay, so we've got a brain that can think and a toolbox that lets it act. But what stops it from getting confused or just doing the wrong thing? That brings us to our final and maybe most important component, the rulebook.
The rulebook is all about providing crystal clear, high-quality instructions. And this is absolutely critical. Vague instructions lead to unpredictable behavior and errors. A well-written rulebook gets rid of that ambiguity and makes sure the agent does its job smoothly and reliably, every single time.
So what makes a good rulebook? Well, for starters, don't reinvent the wheel. Take your existing standard operating procedures or your policy documents and convert those. Second, make the agent break down big tasks into smaller, bite-sized steps. Third, be super explicit. Every single instruction should map to a clear action, like a specific API call. And finally, try to think about what could go wrong. A really solid rulebook anticipates those weird edge cases and tells the agent exactly how to handle them.
And here's a really slick pro tip. You can actually use an AI to help write the instructions for your AI. This is what's called a meta prompt. You're basically telling a powerful LLM, hey, you are an expert instruction writer. Then you feed it a dense document and ask it to spit out a perfectly clear step-by-step guide for another agent to follow. It works incredibly well.
All right, we've taken the agent apart, we've looked at all the pieces, now let's put it all back together and see the whole picture. So, to assemble our specialist agent, we start with the brain. That's the LLM, giving us all that core reasoning power.
Then, we hook it up to the toolbox, giving it the senses to perceive the world and the hands to act within it.
And finally, we give it the rulebook, that clear set of instructions that make sure it performs its job correctly and safely.
And there you have it, a capable model, a set of well-defined tools, and clear instructions. These three pillars, all working together, are what transform a simple language model into a genuinely useful AI agent. So here's the big takeaway from all this. Building a reliable AI agent isn't magic. It's all about smart engineering. Success comes from being thoughtful about how you design each of these three pillars: the brain, the toolbox, and the rulebook. Get those right, and you can build systems that don't just automate simple tasks, but entire complex workflows with real, actual intelligence.
And that leaves us with one final and pretty exciting question. Now that we understand the anatomy of an agent, the possibilities are basically endless. The only limit is our imagination. So, what are you going to build next?